Nearly one-fifth of the world's oil moves through a single narrow waterway. Remove it, and the global economy feels it within hours. Energy prices surge, markets react instantly, governments activate emergency plans. So how vulnerable is this choke point really? Who actually has the capability to disrupt it? Would it take a war to shut it down, or just a strategic decision? And if it closes even briefly, how exposed is the modern world? You wake up tomorrow morning, and something feels wrong. Fuel prices have doubled overnight. Food costs are rising faster than usual. Stock markets are sliding. And the reason is not a war you saw on television. It is a narrow stretch of water most people have never seen. The Strait of Hormuz. Why does this place matter so much? And how did it become this powerful? To understand that, we begin with geography. The Strait of Hormuz lies between Iran to the north and Oman to the south. It connects the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Sea and the wider Indian Ocean. At its narrowest point, it is only 33 kilometers wide, but the usable shipping lanes are far narrower. In reality, tankers move through channels barely 3 kilometers wide in each direction. That is all. Every day, some of the largest ships on Earth pass through this corridor. Nearly one-fifth of global oil consumption flows through this single choke point. Oil from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar must pass here to reach world markets. Without this route, global supply chains slow down instantly. And when supply slows, prices rise. Centuries ago, it controlled trade between Persia, India, and the Arab world. Spices moved through here. Silk passed through here. Pearls and precious goods crossed these waters. Whoever controlled Hormuz controlled wealth. In 1515, Portuguese forces led by Alfonso de Albuquerque seized it. They built a fortress and dominated regional trade. For them, this was not just territory, it was leverage. But empires do not last forever. In 1622, Persian forces with support from the English expelled the Portuguese. Control shifted, the importance did not. Then the 20th century changed everything. Oil. Oil transformed the region and the world. Factories, vehicles, aircraft, electricity grids, all depended on it. And most of that oil had only one exit route: the Strait of Hormuz. During the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s, the strait became a battlefield. Tankers were attacked, mines were deployed, insurance costs skyrocketed. The United States intervened to protect shipping lanes, because if Hormuz stops, the consequences become global. So could Hormuz actually be closed today? Geographically, Iran controls the northern coastline. It possesses naval mines, anti-ship missiles, submarines, and fast attack boats. These tools could disrupt traffic temporarily, but completely sealing the strait would likely trigger an international military response. Because the Strait of Hormuz is legally recognized as an international transit route, it is not owned by one nation. It functions as global infrastructure. If Hormuz were blocked, even briefly, oil supply would tighten overnight. Fuel prices would rise within days. Transportation costs would increase. Food prices would follow. Airlines would raise fares. Stock markets would react immediately. Even countries thousands of kilometers away would feel the impact. This is the power of geography. Not loud speeches, not dramatic headlines. A location. Today, some Gulf states are building pipelines that bypass Hormuz. Renewable energy is expanding globally, but none of these alternatives fully replace the volume that passes through this strait. As long as oil powers much of the global economy, Hormuz remains critical. It has survived empires, it has witnessed war, it has adapted to energy revolutions. In a world focused on superpowers and military strength, we sometimes overlook something simpler. Sometimes power is not a nation, not an army. Sometimes power is a narrow strip of water called the Strait of Hormuz.